Welcome to On the Edge with April Mahoney Brains. Here, this is the spot where the conversations are pointed, the guests are sharp, and the responses are never dull. Did you bring your thinking caps? Because it's time to put them on. Because the conversation starts now. Welcome to On the Edge with April Mahoney Brains. This is the place where the conversation is pointed all the time. The guests are sharp all the time. And the responses are never dull all the time. Today, we've got Keli Meagher from up north in California. We're going to talk about some stuff. Have you been involved recently in a breakup? That could be a relationship. That could be a divorce. That could be a separation. That could be leaving your job. Just sometimes you separate from yourself. Keli is coaching and mentoring individuals to find their true essence. And I'm going to ask her what that is, because a lot of times people put that out there, but it has different interpretations and different meanings for everybody. The name of her website is the Tidal Wave of Love.com. Okay, so that's just flooding you with love and acceptance. And I'm ready to receive it. I'm ready to receive her. Hello, Keli. Welcome to On the Edge.
Thank you for having me, April.
Exactly.
I feel very blessed to be talking to April in the month of April.
Oh, let me tell you. And you know what? My parents were hippies. I wasn't even born in April.
Well, I love it.
They was high on some of that love, back in the 60s. It was, they was loving anybody, everybody, everybody was loved. But right now, there's no love. Yes, there is. There's still some. There's some between me and you. But love is just, I don't know, it's underrated. And if people understood the power and the magnitude of that four-letter word, it could change the whole trajectory of their life.
You're going to make me cry, April. We just got started and I'm going to cry.
Girl, I got tissue. I'll send it to you. No, but you know what? But love but it's ambiguous too. And it's very subjective to each individual person. I mean, you could just give somebody some chocolate and they'll be in love. But then another person, you have to change the very essence of who you are. How do you define love, Keli?
It's all encompassing. It never judges. I don't know if you've ever had a child, but when I first had my baby and I looked at him, I was like, wow, my parents love me that much. Like, it was just like pure bliss. And then I had this lucid dream, I would say about 5 years ago, and angels visited me in the dream, and they had a message for a loved one of mine, but their amount of love, the all-encompassing love, again, no judgment, just like beyond words, really, was so heartfelt, so beautiful that I woke up in tears because it was just like so much to receive that bliss. And that's who we are. Like, that's our true essence. That's our true nature. And all of these stories that we tell ourselves, it's just an illusion. It is. It creates the separation between us and the truth of who we are, this oneness, the sameness, this one that we're a part of.
Well, as Einstein clearly indicated in his research and his years of work, is that we are all energy, and energy just changes form. We are not matter. I would do some work here now with Deepak Chopra, and it's not about mindset anymore, brains. It's about consciousness. It's about being aware. It's about being present in this moment. I look at some celebrities. They were fine 1 minute. Next, they've had a major stroke. You can't take things for granted, and people do that. And you can't take my love for granted. I'm going to tell you right here, I'm going to tell you right now on the edge. I'm not going for the okie doke. Okay. My love is precious. It is sacred. It is strong and it is unwavering, but it is conditional. And I know people say unconditional love, and I don't believe them, because you let somebody come at them with a side eye, mistreat them, hurt them, steal them, pull a gun on them, beat them, whatever the situation. That condition on that love has changed. Now, I'll like you, I won't bother you, but that all-encompassing love that you just teared up about, I don't know if I can just give that up 110%. Do you give it up 110% all the time? Be real with us.
I seriously think, like, if you were to ask my family, like, I am very, yes, I would say yes.
All right.
Like, people, like, I was previously married, and he cheated on me a couple of times. Like, he was not, he lied to me, obviously, about other things too. Like, and yet I forgive him. I release him. Like, I understand, like, he was doing the best he could in the circumstances that he had in life. And like, and I know that sounds lame, right, to most people, that he was doing the best he can.
Sound lame. That's big. That's huge.
But like, his brother just had passed away the year before. Like, we had lost our house in a house fire. Like, we had a lot of stress, and people react differently to these stresses in life, right? And so I know my family was like, well, how could you forgive him? And obviously in the moment, like, there was not that forgiveness when it happened, right?
But that's a different word. That's a different forgiveness is not love. And I can understand you built a life together. You had memories. Do you have a child with your ex-husband?
I do not.
Okay.
No.
Well, whatever it was, that was love. And I'm sure that right now, if he fell and busted his knee wide open, need to get to the emergency room, you would be there. You would help him out. But forgiving him is not forgetting what he's done.
Correct.
I forgive you. I accept, because we all have a responsibility. It wasn't your fault, but we all have a part to play.
Yep.
And so we all have to take some ownership in that.
Yeah.
And that's some self-love and some self-awareness.
Yeah.
People are detached from that. They don't want to own up to it. How do you encourage the people that you mentor and coach to accept ownership for their flaws, their imperfection? Because until you realize what it is, you can't get beyond that.
Yeah, I think that's overcoming the victim mentality, and I believe that that's pervasive in our society. Is this blaming others? Like, we are kind of raised to, like, oh, my brother touched me. Oh, like, we're always looking to blame, but we need to take ownership, right, and stop playing the victim and start claiming our sovereignty. Like, we can choose how we react to different situations.
Right.
That's within our how we respond is within our power. And to give somebody forgiveness or whatever, that's for us. That's not for them. Like, you don't have to forgive them for them. You just have to forgive them for you so that you can move on. I kind of think of forgiveness kind of like you have your arm out, holding them at bay, blaming them, and yet you're trying to go through life, and yet your arm is disabling you from fully living your present life. And so it's just your forgivingness. You're like bringing back your arm and your wholeness to who you are so that you can move fully forward in this present moment. And that's all we have is the present moment. Our minds think otherwise. Our minds are always telling us stories about the past or telling us stories about the future. But being in your heart brings you to the present moment.
Mm-hmm.
And
now,
that's where all the gift is.
I'll forgive you, but I ain't gonna fool with you.
Right, exactly. Like, you don't have to deal with them.
Off you go now, go give a test to somebody else. It because it takes work. Yeah. And when you're angry or you are sad or you feel the victim, it's like you have to put on this other coat of armor when this person enters the room or enters your space or even sometimes the mention of their name can change, your feelings, can change the whole temperature in the room. Sometimes it can even suck the oxygen out of the room. What keeps you strong, and who pours into you to keep you balanced?
The divine, God, universe, whatever you want to call it. Like that's how I I'm self-resourced basically, yeah, so that's the best way to describe it. You know, about 7 years after my divorce, I realized that I'm not my divorce. I'm not the house that I drive. I'm not the car. I'm not my job. I'm not any of these things. I am soul. I am spirit. I am love. I am light. And nothing is going to change that. Nothing, nobody can take that away from me. And I think that we forget that. We think that we're asked all the time, what do you do for a living, right?
Right,
What do you
right.
do for a living? What kind of car do you drive? Where do you live? Because we're judging people based on what?
Yeah.
That's not who they are. They are love and light. That's their true essence.
Well, but I don't know. You haven't been listening to a few of my last few podcasts, because I done had some people on my show that have been impacted by demons. And I'm like, how do you fight against those forces? Because it's a duality. It's always a constant struggle between good and evil. And we have to make the decision. We have to make the choice. We have to continuously have that conversation in our head. We have to, like today, when I, got up, took a shower, and usually, my meditation is set in a Zen kind of environment, and, in my studio, and got the, the music and all that. But you know what? I said, I'm going to sit right here on this little stoop in the shower and meditate for 15 minutes. And the room was still steamy from the mist. And I just took it all in. And it was such a different feeling, a certain effervescence. I don't know what it was, but it changed. We have to also be able to change. Wouldn't you agree? To change our location, to change our will, to change our desires, to look at our needs, to edit and filter, get rid of some stuff. Don't you think the change is a big part of this as well?
Change is constant.
That's
We're
right.
always evolving. We're always learning. And you can go through change and resistance to
Right,
it,
right,
or
right.
you can go with the flow and say, okay, I'm open to the next thing. Like we have that choice. We have the choice to show up for change, and because we are always changing. I mean, you go to sleep and your body is regenerating itself every day, so you're waking up anew every day.
So let me ask you this. On the flip side of that, when you are in a kind of not destructive, but when you're downtrodden, you're depressed, you are in a negative mindset, you're being mean, you're being ugly. How do you pull yourself up by the bootstraps? What do you suggest?
I go out into Mother Nature and I like lie down on her. I go revel in her. I go for a walk in her. Like, in fact, just today, like, that's why we went for a walk. I took my son. I'm like, let's go outside. Let's enjoy the sunshine. I need fresh air. I need to connect with Mother. Like, I just go out and appreciate her. Like, she's always appreciating us, always loving us, always supporting us. Like, and we just take her for granted. We take her for granted.
Oh,
And so I think that that's how I resource myself and how I shift that and just go back to breathing. We're constantly being breathed into life, right? And we take our first breath and we leave with our breath, and so connecting with the present moment in the breath is powerful. It's
who's
powerful.
your ideal person to work with? What are you looking for? And a lot of people say, well, anybody, but we don't just gel with anybody. Not that we don't like them or whatever, but sometimes we just don't align. It's just not a fit. It's not a
Right.
fit. Who do you find the best, maybe not people or characteristics, to really benefit from what you're, as my kids say, are you picking up what I'm putting down?
Yeah. primarily women that have been through breakup, or like we were talking, loss, divorce, some sort of major altering life event where they're trying to discover again, like, who am I? What makes me happy? Because when you're in a relationship, or you are usually compromising, you're usually and usually have a plan together, right? And so it's more about, well, who am I now that I'm not in a relationship, and what really is going to propel me forward? And so that's primarily who I've been working with, is people that have gone through some sort of life transformation, life altering event where their heart is cracked open, I would say, and that are willing to step within my safe container to rediscover their joy, their happiness, their bliss, and who they really are.
So in other words, you are the love duct tape.
Yeah, I like that. The love duct tape.
You put
You
it
know,
all right together.
the tidal wave of love kind of happened because the name of my website, because I was thinking about have you ever done cacao, chocolate? But
Yeah, I
yeah.
remember actually going on a field trip years ago. It's in the long brown kind of thing, and you open it up, it's kind of nutty in the inside, cacao.
Well, I think it depends. So cacao, ceremonial cacao, is
Oh,
chocolate
okay.
before it's overly processed, so it doesn't
Okay.
have the milk and the sugar in it. And it's raised with intention and love, because the Mayans and Aztecs, they always use ceremonial cacao as, they call it the food of the gods because it has over 200 antioxidants, and it drops you into your heart. Like the theobromine opens up your blood vessels, so it's good for people that have higher blood pressure. And it has magnesium, which is good for calming the nervous system. It has a bliss compound in it, so it's uplifting. It has iron in it, and that's why we tend to crave chocolate for around our menses. So it has all these beautiful benefits, but when you have milk in it, then your body can't absorb the chocolate, the benefits. So I partook in the ceremonial cacao, and I got the message, like, because it's so heart opening, to share that with as many people as possible. Because what a beautiful gift to give yourself to start the day with a cup of cacao, which is uplifting, right? Versus coffee. Coffee goes right to your head and says, what do I got to get done today? And it kind of has a whole different energy to it than cacao, which is more heart opening and heart expanding. And I could feel into what that would look like around the earth, people starting their day from this heart-centered, expansive way, and the possibilities that would arise, and the tidal wave of love that would create. And so that's kind of where that tidal wave of love came through.
Well,
And so every day I connect with that
that's cool.
feeling.
And it's also the title for a good song. You got a guitar?
I don't. I tried guitar, but my fingers, oh man, it hurt. I couldn't.
Oh, you know
Couldn't do
what?
it.
I tried guitar because I take guitar lessons. I'm a woman of a particular age, and I'm still trying to stimulate my brain with that muscle memory. And muscle memory is a lot like the memory of the heart. The heart feels everything, you know.
It
Uh,
does.
when you have indigestion, when you have high blood pressure, when you fall in love, when you are heartbroken, there's a lot. So there's a lot of memory also in the heart.
Yep.
How do we adjust and edit and filter that to serve us in our highest and truest form?
Well, I would say to connect with your heart and the truth of your heart, um, because your heart is like your main brain. Really, it is the connection, like you were saying. It's like the wormhole to connecting with all of humanity through all time and space. We're all connected, and so coming again back to the breath and connecting with your heart and the wisdom of your heart, because your heart has a different answer than your head. Your head is more like the fear-based survival mechanism that we're primarily in a majority of the time.
Fight or flight.
Yes, exactly. It's the kind of the messaging that we're raised in, this fight or flight. And so really just dropping into your heart and the truth of your heart every day to see where that guides you, because it's different. It's more like thriving versus surviving.
Right. Now, what do you say to the skeptic? What do you say to the person that says, this is great. It's a field of lilies, but it's not reality, because you are dealing with the adversary. You're dealing with the outside influences. You're dealing, sometimes battling within your own head with that negative self-talk. What do you say to the person that is apprehensive about letting go and letting love?
So we have these stories, right, that we tell ourselves. So we can tell ourselves these stories of fear and lack and scarcity, or we can choose new stories to tell ourselves of goodness, love, and all of this joy and bliss. Like, we created these stories of fear, so we can create new stories of love, right?
Right.
We're that powerful. We are
I tell people all the time, you can reframe it. Yeah. It's a choice. I was talking to my mentor about a situation I run up against again, and I was talking to her, and I was like, damn, I said, here I go again. And then she goes, well, you know what, April? She says, you're here again, number one, because you didn't learn the lesson the first time, or two, you did not apply, the learnings. She said, but this is a third time. 3 is a charm. Now you have the opportunity to reframe it. You know what happened the last time. You know what lessons or what opposition you ran up against the last time. And here you are back again. What's going on? So like you said, it's the story that I kept telling myself that, okay, the same thing's going to happen. No. And when I sat back and thought about it, I reframed it. I said, this is going to have a different outcome. I'm going to meet new people. This is going to be a different situation, blah, 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 blah. And like magic, it was how I reframed it.
There you go. Magic every day.
So brains, what you have to do is use your brain. You got to slow down and you go, wow, am I picking the same kind of guy? Am I not seeing the signs when I see him at the bar and he's having 6 drinks and I'm not finished with my glass of wine? Am I seeing the same situation to where he's waiting for me to put down the credit card? Am I, going through the same situation to where I can only call him certain times a day, or I can only see him on certain days? Is there a pattern there? Okay. Is there a pattern? Okay, so then reframe it. This is not what I want. You have to be specific when you manifest things in your life. Whatever it is, you have to be specific.
Feel into it. Like, how would it feel, that relationship? It's not necessarily about the visualization, which is, yes, visualizing is good, but you also have to feel like, how would it feel to be adored? How would it feel to be just like treated as a queen? How would it feel to have somebody just love you sensually, just like you deserve to be loved? Like, how would that feel? And tap into that. Like, that's the reprogramming. Right. Yeah, reframe, but feel into that.
That's the tidal wave. Okay, that's flashing you in your face. I can feel it. I'm in it with you. So let me ask you some fun questions, because we've gone deep. These are my favorite questions. You were an appliance in the kitchen. Keli, what would you be?
You know what's so funny? The first thing that comes to mind is the dishwasher. And
why?
Fresh start.
Yeah.
Fresh start. Wiping away all of the dirt and grime that you've been taught, that you've been conditioned into, that you've been telling yourself, and just, you're shiny and new and bright and everything is possible. Everything. The only thing limiting you is your thoughts.
Yeah. I'd be the Swiffer. I want it clean and shiny. I want it smooth. I want to glide, So I'd be the Swiffer. If you had 3 wishes, what would they be? Just anything.
3 wishes? For everybody to wake up to the love that they are. For everybody to experience love and joy and bliss every day. I believe that we can live in ecstatic bliss every day. And that, yeah, that we, I guess, would be less divisive as a whole, and more accepting of our differences, because that's what is so fascinating about us all, is all the differences. Like, if we were all the same, how boring would life be? If
I
we
tell
were all
people that
eating the
all the
same
time.
thing, like, thank goodness there's such diversity, and to um yeah, relish in that, delight in the differences, like, instead of having the friction, just delight in the differences and learn from one another and grow from one another.
What do you say to the woman that's afraid to fall in love again? You had an adversarial into your marriage, and they're out there. And I'm telling you, the dating scene, I've been married to Mr. Magnificent. In a few weeks, it'll be 39 years.
Congratulations.
Thank you. Now, and what you said about being loved and feeling like a queen, and I know what it feels like. I can't accept anything else, anything but that.
Nice. Good for
Can't
you.
accept anything but that. But there are a lot of women that are just afraid, and the dating scene is so different. I mean, you finding somebody online, you sex texting it. Who does that?
Yeah.
It's just different. You don't go to the bar and wink and send somebody a drink, or you're afraid of that human interaction. So how do women or men or non-binary, how do people find love again after they've experienced a breakup?
Being open. I mean, you have to be open and willing and courageous. Open, willing, and courageous. And know that not every man is bad, not every woman is bad. No, like, everybody is, again, different. And so, and once you like are, yeah, you just have to be open and willing and courageous, because not everyone is the same. And you have to have faith in yourself and faith in another.
You have to love yourself. You have to understand your boundaries, what you will accept, what you won't accept. And you have to understand where you are in your life.
Yep.
Because if you're over 35 or 40, they're going to come with maybe a couple kids, maybe with an ex-spouse, maybe with some bad credit, maybe
Yeah.
some health problems, maybe unemployed. What is it that you are willing to say, okay, you know what? That is not a deal breaker. That is something that I can work with.
Yep.
And
knowing yourself, I think, helps. Knowing who you are really helps to delineate. Okay, like you were just saying, this will work for me, this won't work for me. Somebody who's nice and clean is great. I need that. Like, you by knowing yourself, then you can find yourself the partner that's a good match, a good partner for you.
And my last question to you, Kelly, what do you want your legacy to be, baby?
Legacy of love. Legacy of love. That I am the tidal wave of love.
Wow.
And it ripples out from my heart to yours.
Well, it couldn't have been spoken more beautifully. Please tell my brains how to get in contact with you. If they need an infusion and an injection of love, if they need to, revisit it or even figure out what it means. I had a family member tell me the other day, they didn't even know what love was. That broke my heart.
That is.
And I try to give it to them on overdrive. I try to give them an overabundance. And they said, I don't even know what love is. That scared me. That scared me, that they didn't realize it, because I know that they're getting it, but they didn't realize it. So how can a person that's in that space contact you?
So you can find me. So every day I do a reel on Instagram at tidal_wave of love. And then you can contact me through my website, tidalwaveoflove.com. You can send me an email, KELI@tidalwaveoflove.com. I do have on the fourth Sunday of every month, I do a cacao ceremony. I don't sell the cacao. You'd have to buy your own cacao. I do have a link to a place to buy it, but I would love to have you join me and experience the beautiful medicine of cacao. Again, it's very heart opening. And I am doing a Survive to Thrive 6-week journey with me. And that starts April 24th at 6:15 p.m. Pacific Standard Time. So send me an email if you're interested.
Get your cacao on, brains.
That's right. Get your
That's pretty
cacao. So
cool.
you can connect with the brain of your heart.
Absolutely. And make some wise choices and decisions.
Yeah.
Speaking of wise choices and decisions, bam, I need you to go like, love, share, and subscribe right here. Like, love, share, and subscribe here on The Edge. Like I told you, the place where the conversation is pointed, the guests are sharp, responses are never dull, and we open our heart to love. Thank you, Keli.
Thank you, April.
All
My
right.
pleasure.
Be good, brains.